November 2nd, 2016, Redding, California. Keith Papini reports his wife, Sherri, missing.
I just got home from work, and my wife wasn't there, which is unusual, and my kids should have been there by now from, like, daycare. I couldn't find her, so I called the daycare to see what time she picked up the kids. The kids were never picked up, so I got freaked out, so I hit, like, the Find My iPhone app thing, and it said that it showed her phone, like, at our end of our driveway. We don't have really good service.
Okay.
Not the end of our driveway, but the end of our street. But I just drove down there, and I saw her phone with her headphones because she started running again. I found her phone, and it's got, like, hair ripped out of it, like, in the headphones.
What's your wife's name?
I'm going to, like, knock on every door. Sherri, S-H-E-R-R-I. And we live down kind of a sketchy street, so I don't know if I'm allowed to knock on everybody's door, but I will if I'm allowed to do that.
Well, let's just have the officers contact you so they can start, processing everything, figure out what's going on, okay?
There's no way.
Just like Mom, Cody, and Dad loved you. Nobody loved you anymore or any less.
I'm telling you right now, I do not think you're a murderer. I don't think that you're a bad person, and something got out of control, and we needed to know where she's at.
All I want from you.
This 911 call is extremely important. They will analyze this as part of their evaluation process and preparation process for any interview. They don't know at this point if he's the killer or if he's the distraught husband. It's a very preliminary stage in an investigation, and initially they will pretend it's a missing person and possibly think he's possibly a suspect.
We're dealing with someone who understands technology, and he referred to the Find My iPhone as some sort of iPhone finding app or something like that. It was a little bit flippant.
Yeah, let's see some more. Roll tape.
Yeah.
But like a normal route for her run, would she run on Old Oregon Trail to Paracast back?
She would normally go to the mailboxes and back. Now, she's been running more and more. She wanted to get ready for the Casa run. We were all gonna go to it's like the Casa where everybody jumps up superheroes.
Okay.
It's coming up like
Is that
2 weeks.
How long of a run is it?
5K.
Okay.
So, I'm not saying that she might have been like, hey, I ran this far this day, I'm gonna run Paracast to Sunrise and back, or I'm gonna go Sunrise to Paracast. And I keep going back to something like that because the way the phone is, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen, I know I showed you a picture, it's weird to me, and I've got all my ideas, but my latest idea is I don't think it happened there. I think where the T is, where you can go Paracast or Sunrise, I think it happened somewhere in there because there's no houses except for that crack house. So I think 2 guys or something in a car, they drive, the phone gets cell phone range again, because it doesn't have cell phone range right there. It makes a sound, bling or something, and they go, oh, and they grab it, and they give it a little chuck so it bounces, and then it kind of stays, but it's still pretty intact, so that's why I don't get that part.
We do our best not to do theories wise.
Yeah,
because
that's all I do.
Hold it there. If you watch at this point in the interview, he is smiling. He's throwing his hands to the right and left. This is not the normal reaction of a grieving husband, in my opinion.
Yes, sometimes people will have a nervous laughter when they feel uncomfortable about feeling the emotion. That's why sometimes if we're in the movie and there's a very sad scene, there'll be somebody laughing in the row behind us. When we're lying and telling an untruth, it's not consistent with our personality, so we end up trying to disguise it in some way.
Yeah.
And I think this is what we see here.
And while he's doing this, talking to the officer, these things are being running around his head. And this smiling could be just to cover up for his grief. It could be.
The next step, not saying that there's not detectives on that next step. To fully get to that next step, we have to look at you. Because if we don't, it's irresponsible.
And if we... I mean, I think it's ridiculous, but then I stop and I go, no, there's fucking crazy people out there, and it ends up being the husband. We're giving her, like, some chemical to, Sherri watches these, like, shows.
In a typical interview room across the universe of policing, you will notice certain similarities. One is the coloration. This is plain, plain, plain. Everything is meant to make this person feel as relaxed as possible. There are no art on the walls, there's no distraction, there's no words. This thing here on the wall, it possibly could be a device for electronics in all probability. There's people behind looking into the room with that device. Just to give you an idea that this is not just a random room. This is paint color scheme setup, all designed for a purpose of the interview.
When Sherri was growing up, and I remember when she went through a CCW thing, because this got brought up and she was like crying, her parents did horrible things. For one, if you looked up her record, like, they're, what's this breaking and entering you have on her record? She was like, what? It says here at this address. He's like, oh, that's my house. I'm like, yeah, my parents called the cops on me one night because I needed basketball shoes for my basketball game in like 8th grade. I'm not saying I've always been weird with money, but when Sherri and I first got together, she had crazy, shitty parents. She didn't have a driver's license when we got together. She was 20-something. She had horrible credit. She had a bill from a car that her parents sold, but put in her name something weird, and like she owed like some tow company in LA like thousands of dollars. And I sat down with her and I'm like, this is, for me, I'm like, if you pull my stuff, you see my credit score, like, I'm like, I'm on the money. So I was like, you have to get a driver's license. You have to do that if you want to pursue and you want to talk about it.
He wants to be taken seriously.
And he's driving the point home each time.
He's framing her as the deserving victim.
Yep.
We see that after people have been convicted, certainly, when they're explaining why they did it, because they've already admitted that they have.
He's skating on the edge of giving a motive right now.
Essentially, yeah.
Let me, since you're at the top, let me ask you, what do you guys think? Are you even allowed to tell me?
As
Like,
of
what do you think
right
happened?
now?
Yeah. I think something grabbed her. I mean, is that?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think 2 people, actually, because she's a fighter.
I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't think she left on her own.
Well,
I don't think she
no.
volunteered.
Definitely not.
I've been, just as much as I've been crawling, and you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so.
And the phone, the picture, I mean, that's weird how it's like been placed. Would you guys say it's been placed, not thrown? It's weird.
There's 4 different reasons.
Okay. And we never got anything back on that.
On what?
On the phone, DNA and all.
We should be getting hard information back today. But
No fingerprints.
We've been verbally told there's nothing alarming. And that's for you to know.
Oh, yeah, I won't share.
Okay? I'll tell you that right now. Okay?
Those are very knee-jerk reactions that are meant to show that he's on their side and also to shake it off, right? He's trying to say, oh, yeah, how horrible, right? I need to shake off this feeling. And that's his way of showing shock and grief.
Well, also showing a sense of relief. They just informed him that the polygraph was okay, and now he can change his affect. I'd be interested to see if now he's even a little bit more smiley and if he holds back on the information that he's been giving.
Yeah, he should probably become very comfortable right now with the police, and he's showing all of these head shakings and stuff like that, and he thinks he's now part of the investigation instead of being the investigated.
Yes.
So we don't know where this is going to end up just yet.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
There's a lady on the side of the road needing help.
Okay.
I'm on Highway 5.
Okay, so you're northbound 5. Do you know what's wrong with her?
She's saying that she got kicked out of her boyfriend's...
Okay, just be safe where you are. What's...
Her name is Sherri Papini.
Please, Sherri, I need you to listen to me. Listen to me. Do you know where you are?
No. I've been in the car.
Are you chained up?
Yes.
Okay, take a deep breath, sweetie. Who chained you up? Do you know the person or were you kidnapped?
I don't know. I never saw her face.
How did you get chained up? What happened?
She took me.
Who took you? Do you know?
No.
I see a vehicle go past Sunrise Drive to maybe like the front 2 tires are past the actual street sign, and then it backs up. It was a woman.
20 days after disappearing, Sherri Papini reappears on the side of the highway, claiming 2 women kidnapped her, chained her up, and cut her hair.
Needing help.
Okay.
I'm on Highway 5.
Okay, so you're northbound 5. Do you know what's wrong with her?
She's saying that she got kicked out of her boyfriend's... Her name is Sherri Papini.
This is making my head spin. There's something missing in this whole thing, and I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
I think it's interesting that they cut her hair. Why would her hair be cut to a different length?
The story is very specific, considering she didn't really know what had happened, right? Obviously, she's in shock on that call. You can hear a lot of emotion. And when that happens, a person might have a hard time being able to recall what had happened. And later on, maybe when they're calmed down, might be able to.
And you have to now go disprove it or prove it. But in the back of my mind, there'd be a sixth sense going off going, this is really bizarre.
If we look at something like routine activities theory, we have somebody that has a routine, is something that they're doing regularly. She's a homemaker. She's at home, it sounds like, with her kids most often. She's going for runs. That would make this seem like it's a random attack.
Please, Sherri, I need you to listen to me. Listen to me.
The confusing thing, too, I mean, you look at the partner, right? The romantic partner, often as the prime suspect. There are a lot of reasons, especially when you're living in the same place, to have arguments. You know the most about the other person. I still think that it's him. The degree to which, like, there's not a lot of evidence suggesting, you know what? Now that we have this new information, it's definitely these random women that we can't place.
Either it's a well-concocted story or now you have to branch this investigation out. You've got her husband involved in something that's kind of suspicious by what he's saying, but we're not sure of that just yet.
It's a very complicated and tumultuous relationship. We don't have all the facts.
I find it hard to believe that kidnappers would take someone and not demand a ransom or ask for anything in return for her. The chaining up, the cutting of the hair, there's something dark and bizarre with this, and I think there's someone else involved. I just don't know who.
I feel like sometimes it's easier with my eyes closed.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can do anything you want, other than assault me or hit Kyle. You can hit Kyle all you want. I'm good with that. Just don't hit me. So that's what I mean. If you need to, that's everything you need to do, you can do.
And we brought an easel if you want to draw stuff. We brought every tool.
Keep saying that I'm like terrible at drawing.
Well, no, we have the pamphlet over there because obviously
we've been trying to do cars, and I'm like the worst car person. I'm feeling very nervous because I still don't really know you guys. I mean, I kind of do.
Is there anything we can do to help you feel more comfortable with us?
Not.
Just not, brazen cops that just don't have feelings or care, okay? I've cried in the shower. I try not to cry at home a lot in front of the kids because they don't like seeing it. I've cried in the shower because
There's certain things that are very difficult to explain. There's certain things that for me, it's a feeling. It's not facts. Okay. So if there's something that's not a fact, if there's something that I was feeling, because I don't speak Spanish, but there was a lot of body language, and I can understand body language. Okay. So there's things for me that I feel went a certain way. Are those things that you want, or are those things you want me to hold back because they're not facts?
They're taking her down a path of seeing how lighthearted she can be over what happened. And she's either extremely strong and able to brush this off and laugh about it, or the whole thing was a farce.
I see there being a dual purpose to that, too. Like you said, if she is a suspect in this and can provide more information, it's putting her at ease, and you're also testing, how are her reactions when we add stressors, when we talk about these things where something unequivocally did happen to them. They are a victim in some capacity. You are able to still joke about things and joke about really horrible, traumatic things.
And she's also telling us, I really can't help with the investigation. I'm terrible with cars. I don't know what's going on, but I can remember the smell of the coffee. So I think that she doesn't seem that eager to find who did this to her.
Not yet, but I like looking at it from a police officer's perspective, right? When we're investigating something, we're gonna try putting her at ease if she is 110% a victim, right? And had no involvement with this, isn't fabricating anything. It's putting her at ease and creating some sort of rapport. She's gonna be more comfortable and more likely to share information that could be helpful, and it makes it less stressful and re-traumatizing for her as well.
There's missing pieces here to this at this point in time. And I think these guys, these investigators, are doing everything they can to try to find out if it's real or fraud. It's a game of cat and mouse that they're playing with these two or an unknown third party.
Yeah, I'm not saying because she's obviously gone through something that we shouldn't consider her, that we should rule her out in any capacity, but it's just interesting that they have to treat her as a victim, but also as a suspect, and that dual piece is making it really interesting to see how the police officers navigate that.
This is going to be interesting because they got a mess on their hands.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about that now, where I'm like, oh my God, someone is going to be on her side, defending her against all of this crap.
Phones don't lie, the DNA doesn't lie, Sherri.
The police conduct an interview with Sherri Papini following her kidnapping.
Start us off on the day.
From the beginning.
Yeah, just start with there and see what happens.
Let's talk about the Christmas present with Keith.
Okay.
I started wrapping a Christmas present for Keith, the little American flag pillow. Taped one side, ran out of tape, and then couldn't find any more tape anywhere else. Got very frustrated, left it on the ground and left it open because there was no more tape to complete the wrapping of it. Text messaged my husband to come home for lunch.
So you went to daycare that morning, right? You remember that? Yeah. Tell me about your drive to daycare.
It's not ordinary, just
A normal day?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the normal, fed the kids breakfast.
Anything out of the ordinary on your way home? Anything out of the ordinary when you got home or out taking care of the chickens? Anything that caught your eye or hear anything out of the ordinary? How many chickens do you have?
We used to have every type of chicken.
That's fascinating.
I'm pretty sure it was the 2 Americanas that we lost, one of which was one of my favorite ones, Lady Hawk. And Violet would feed Marybelle, and Marybelle would kind of walk up to her, and Violet would be like, "This giant chicken's chasing me!"
I think she's searching. I think she is mentally trying to come up with a story that's going to make sense to the police based on what she said on the phone call. Time has now passed. She's trying to remember, what did I say in that phone call? What did I say about my abductors?
I don't know. I never saw her face.
She's talking about not being able to find what she was looking for, consistent with what you were saying. I'm searching for a story, but I'll cover that with I'm searching for some Scotch tape or something about the present.
Yeah.
So again, we see people attempting to override the tells with a story that would explain their emotional demeanor.
That would get to the mailboxes. The mailboxes at Sunrise and Old Oregon Trail.
Correct.
Go from there, if you can.
Before the mailboxes, I start to slow down. I see a vehicle go past. I see a vehicle go past Sunrise Drive to maybe like the front 2 tires are past the actual street sign, and then it backs up. And I immediately have that feeling of, that was weird. The window goes down, but it was a woman, and they back up. It's frustrating because I know she was wearing a hat, but I can't see the color and I can't see her clothes.
Okay. Still on
No.
Old Oregon Trail.
It's on Old Oregon Trail.
Okay. How far away do you think you are when that happened?
When what are you asking?
When the car stops? Do you know how close were you?
Which time? It stopped twice. Once when it went past the street sign, once when it backed up. Which time were you asking?
Both.
Now that's interesting. She certainly knows that detail.
Yep.
She knows irrelevant details, but no tangible information that would help us understand who these people are if they were, in fact, really happened.
Searching for details that aren't really details.
That's right. And then she pauses, tries to collect her thoughts.
Hand to the hairs.
That's right.
That's a thinking motion.
That's right.
She's also able to compose herself after supposedly breaking down and then going, what, which time? What, how can I help you?
Well, it happened twice.
It happened twice. Yeah, didn't you hear me correctly the first time almost?
I had my phone in my right hand and my earbuds on, and I took out my left to hear her. And then she opened the door. And then I saw the small revolver. And I immediately ducked down. I crouched down.
Like all the way on the ground? So like the fetal position while you like a catcher's
I mean,
position?
my knees weren't on the ground. It was almost... Okay, so across the road, phone's in my hand, earbud out. I can't remember if she said, we don't want to hurt you, we don't want to kill you. I can't remember exactly if it's, we don't want to something, we don't want to something. And I can't remember lifting my leg. I can't remember the back door open.
But as you're going through this, you're pulling your memory from the back side of your head and trying to remember everything. And sometimes it goes back to your brain saying, I can't get there right now. It's kind of like a computer.
That is a factor sometimes, yes. When people just can't make the connection between something very traumatic and horrible, they can't go there. Like they kick it out, they throw a switch and kick it back. But she seems to remember the stupidest of things, but not anything important.
I would expect that someone who had been through a traumatic experience, even though they might not know all the details, would function in a more robotic way. They're talking about it as if it happened to someone else. So her emotion is really incompatible with the detail of the story.
That the back window in the vehicle was large?
Long.
Long?
Yes.
Okay. Describe, what do you mean by that? I mean, it's one of those, duh, Brian. Describe that for me.
Not like a truck bed that's covered, like a SUV.
Okay, so it's a side window. Can we draw it?
Yes, please. I'm a terrible artist, so
That's
please.
fine, so is he. So
Yeah.
between the both of you guys might get a halfway decent picture. And of course, you're on the wrong side, because that's the driver's side.
Okay, so there's a window, here's the window, and then there's like a longer window.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, she's already made the joke, I'm not a great artist, I can't draw. She wouldn't care. She's made that joke already, you don't need to make it again. If this is gonna help solve your case, I would think she'd be like, yeah, absolutely, I'll draw it. It's not gonna be great, but here you go. But her demeanor also shifted again to kind of this joking. It's kind of oscillating between, you know, joking and kind of happy-go-lucky, carefree almost, with this is incredibly traumatic.
My expectation is she'll catch herself in this kind of easygoing, jocular manner, and then again put her head down and experience, at least demonstrate that she's experiencing some kind of emotional trauma, that it's all too much for her at the moment, and they'll have to take a little break. That's what I would expect.
They're making her happy. They're getting her to relax and go back into, like you said, a stage of joy, and see if she comes out of that and goes back into a state of sorrow. Like they're playing games with her right now, a little bit.
What we're seeing in her nonverbal behavior, she's still maintaining her almost fetal-like position and attempting to act out what she's having difficulty remembering or fabricating and not doing a very good job of it. But her body language her affect, she doesn't seem grieved or frightened or upset. She's just telling a story that doesn't make much sense to anybody. I think she's realizing that she's getting herself deeper and deeper into a situation.
Would you like the description of the room? Would you like the sounds that I heard? Would you like what I think was there? What would you like?
What was the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember was the zip ties on my hands. And then the clothing that was very big. It was baggy clothing. It was sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And I did not have socks, and I was very cold. And there was zip ties on my hands. And I didn't feel good. I couldn't stand up. The first day with the zip ties, getting out of them, because they were behind my back. So I pulled them, I did one of these moves. And that's what this scar right there is from, is the very beginning, when I got them off. And I bit them because I couldn't, because Keith and I have even tried this move before, the whole, like power through it and bust it. And I tried that and was unsuccessful. And
this is becoming more and more difficult to believe. She's really telling us that they're practicing the zip tie thing.
Breaking zip ties.
That's correct.
Body language here is just totally, to me, since the beginning of it, she's been in a shell. She's made a shell of herself, which is to keep us out, and she's exposing her thought process behind closed eyes, like the fake drawings Olivia mentioned. Everything to me indicates that she is making this up on the fly and is now starting to worry that she has made too many statements to remember what she said. I think she is on this on her own, and for whatever reason, she's creating this scenario either to get away or look for sympathy. But I believe her husband is totally innocent in this case. That's my opinion.
But he wasn't acting like an innocent person when we first saw him. He was really edgy and defensive.
I just think he's a weird duck, to put it bluntly. And I think the chopping of the table and all that stuff was his way of explaining how bad she was.
Yes.
He knows she's a bad dude. I think he knows that. And he was trying to say there's reasons why she could have just disappeared.
Then why is
he knew she was chasing? She knew she was chasing.
Why is he comforting her when she was telling a story? He's right there. Why wouldn't he say?
Love is blind.
This is baloney.
Love is blind.
I see, but the neighbors ain't.
Yeah. That's right.
The blog that surfaced from a while back about the Hispanics and some thoughts or comments. Can we clarify some of that stuff?
Yes, and it's awful because there's so much that my family is going through, and it's...
People are drawing the conclusions that you're reporting to Hispanics did this. You wrote some... I'm assuming, did you write the blog?
No.
How did the blog get written or posted under your name?
I
have any idea?
No, I have no idea.
The post, obviously, it's showing up on this skinhead website. But it originates from a MySpace account. Have you ever had a MySpace account?
That I can remember. I mean, I don't remember how MySpace even worked. But I want to say it was like somebody, because I was doing a lot of like church functions and youth functions and conferences and things like that, and someone had posted it somewhere. I'm trying to remember how it even worked.
So people are trying to spin it off as this is the catalyst for what happened to you.
I wasn't a perfect person before this, and that's...
But what do you mean by that?
But I was in a youth thing and a church thing, and I don't know how MySpace works. I don't remember whether they have one. So she's telling us on one hand that she's this virtuous person who's engaged in positive community activities, but on the same hand that she's an imperfect person, that we shouldn't expect things of her.
I wasn't a perfect person before this, and that's...
But what do you mean by that? So what do you mean by that?
I skipped school and, did dumb kid stuff, and I had a really, really shitty relationship with my parents. Excuse my vulgar language.
So it's falling apart more and more, isn't it?
You'll also notice that when they said, We know about this MySpace page, and we have investigated it. The husband swallowed. It was very obvious. His Adam's apple moved. He's like, oh. And when they asked point blank, did you have a MySpace account? She didn't say no, because she knew that they would be able to right away say,
You have.
You have had an account.
And they know she had.
And they know that she had an account. So if she was to say no, she would have been screwed. If she was to say yes, she could have said yes, and I didn't post that thing.
It's in the cloud, it speaks very loud.
"4 years following the reported abduction of Sherri Papini, authorities have uncovered fresh evidence leading to further questioning of Sherri.
Obviously, just like always, thank you for coming. We appreciate you just taking the time to come talk to us. As always, your presence here is voluntary. You can go at any time, and all we want is truthful stuff.
You'll notice in this scenario, it's not the plain white room with nothing in it anymore. Who's in charge now? These two. These two have been brought in. They can leave the room anytime they want. They're about to drop the hammer. They have the file, they have everything there. They're sitting in a very relaxed position. These two are sitting across from them behind the desk. They're gonna now tell them what they know. This is the room where we got you.
I've never seen a smile that big on a police officer, and it's because they're at this point in the investigation.
Yeah. This is the part of the game where after 4 years, you get to sit there and throw these crumbs out to the criminal Hansel and Gretel to follow down the path. And they're following you and following you. You gotta have a smile inside when this happens because you waited so long to get to them, and today's the day.
Obviously, we saw that first picture that has the wood paneling, and it's got the table, right? So that's ultimately what led us to those pictures, which then snowballed us down the road that we're eventually at and where we are.
So were you able to find like where that house is?
Yes.
And what? Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So if you look at this closet,
This part is different. That definitely
so
doesn't.
you're saying
look
this
the
metal
same.
part, it looks the same as what you remember. But this piece right here,
This part doesn't look the same.
We found the house. We found who was involved. We talked to who was involved. We talked to family who knows that you were there, and talked to a couple people talked to one guy who did see you during this event. Fortunately, there's a lot of truths. There's a lot of things that were said that we have always confirmed. That we've always said. There's a lot of truths, and then there's some unknowns. Like one of the simple ones, like, well, this description of the bathroom is just weird. Like that was like an argument in all of our offices where we were sitting there like this part's weird.
Right.
So once we have all those things and we start talking to the person who lives here, it led us to a specific person, but not a female. It led us to the car that picked you up, but not an SUV. So there's lots of different aspects that are truths and falses.
it's been a long road, Sherri, but we just want to talk to you. We can have Keith step out if that's going to make you more comfortable.
It's up to you.
Do you want to step out or do you want to stay?
Obviously, I want to stay.
Or we can do a little bit of both. Talk to you alone first and then have him come back in.
I could tell you the puzzle that makes it all come together, or I can tell the puzzle that crashes everything apart. I don't know what that piece is, honestly. All I know is facts. All I know is certain specific items that will either tear the castle down or is going to build the castle up.
There's obviously something going on. There's obviously something. This is going to be really bad if you don't tell me.
Look at him talking right now.
I am.
They are fucking with you.
No, it's not me.
I don't want them to find her. I don't want to press charges, and I don't want to go down that road.
But you tell her.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't want
Tell
to
me
do
why.
her because she saved my life, and she's the reason why I get to hold my children every single day. I don't think I can do that.
You're not making sense to me. to the point where I'm getting scared now. So you need to tell me what's going on.
The DNA that was on you belongs to James Reyes.
The picture, and can I get the picture? The picture of the table is James Reyes, his little brother. He died recently. We talked to him. He's been on a polygraph. We talked to everybody around him. We have the rental agreements, phone rental, car rental agreements. We have everything. The reason why you can describe the room is because you stayed in the room in the dark for hours, for days on end. The reason why you lost so much weight is because you stopped eating. The reason why you got a rash on your arm is because you cleaned his house. The reason why the brand is because he went to the store, bought the branding tools, and branded you. The reason why your nose was broke is because of a hockey stick. I know all of those things, and I know there was no sex. I know all of that because he passed a polygraph test. That said, it's not an abduction. She asked me to come get her.
No.
I rented a car.
No.
I drove up and picked her up. He passed the polygraph test, Sherri.
If that's not what happened, what did happen, Sherri?
I don't know. No, there's no way it's James. There's no way. There's no way.
The DNA doesn't lie.
His DNA
was on you.
There's no way.
Robert saw you in the house while you were down there. While everything spun out of control, his cousin. Why everything ran out of control on the initial.
There's no way. We were friends. There's no way.
The police continue to confront Sherri Papini after it's found out she concocted the entire kidnapping with her ex-boyfriend, James Reyes.
He even got you because you asked him.
No. It's him. There is no way it's him.
Well, it is James.
The DNA tells us that it was his DNA on you.
The DNA alone says it's him. And when we talked to him and confronted him with the DNA,
he told us what happened.
He 100% told us what happened.
He gave us details that nobody else would know.
Ultimately, can you look at me for a second? The questions were, did Sherri ask you to come pick her up? He answered yes. That was the truth on a polygraph. We asked him if the two of you ever had sex. The answer was no.
During 2016.
During 2016, during the abduction, he said no. That was the truth. We asked him if you asked him to brand you. The answer was yes. Passed the polygraph on all of those questions. He took us to the stores where he bought the chain. We talked to the friend who rented the car. The car that he rented drove over 900 miles in a day on the drop-off point. Fear of Keith's reaction, obviously now he's in the room. The fear of all of these things are coming forward. They're in front of you now. You told us what happened. You did go in a dark room. That's true. You did lay in the back seat of the car. That's true. You did lose weight. You were branded. Your hair was cut. You did have bruises all over. But how those bruises got there are because you did it and James did something. The reason why your nose got broke is because you held the hockey stick to your face and he forced it into your nose. The reason why the brand is in a straight line is because he did it. He described exactly where it was. Only you and I and maybe 5 other people know where the brand was. He told me immediately.
What are you thinking, Sherri?
That doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make sense?
What actions doesn't make sense?
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
James' DNA was confirmed on your clothing. 2 of you haven't seen each other in over a decade. You told me that you haven't been in his room, you haven't had contact with him in over 10 years.
You described his bedroom to a T.
And the DNA on you was still a vibrant piece of DNA.
You're saying since your marriage you haven't called James?
No, I haven't called James.
Because earlier you said you had contacted James. His phone records show that you do. You did. The phones don't lie, the DNA doesn't lie, Sherri.
His polygraph doesn't lie.
So you can go a couple different directions now.
His story.
I've already told you lying to me is a crime. So you walk out the store telling lies, and that's a crime.
This isn't making any sense.
What's not making sense, Sherri? The parts that
That
don't
it's
make
James.
sense. No, the parts that don't make sense are that you're accusing 2 females who abducted you when it was James. The part that you were branded, James did it. He told me he did.
No.
Who would sit there and say, I branded Sherri on her right shoulder blade? Who does that?
And told us how and showed us the letters that matched the brand.
Took us to the store and pointed out the letters. The fact that you were branded is true. The small fact is that you willingly laid down and did it versus being tied to a table. So we could do the polygraph and try to, whatever parts you're confused about.
Can you go? Is that what you said?
Can I talk to you outside real quick? Or wait?
That's fine. The fears of how out of control everything got, the fear of all these things is the reality. And the only people that can slow the train down is you and I.
Is she going to fold?
She hasn't yet. She's still in denial. I can't believe that James was involved. I thought he was my friend.
I'm surprised she hasn't folded at this point, and especially given that her husband has left the room, you would think at that point she goes, okay, I did this. I don't want to talk about it with my husband present.
Some people lie because it's in their interest, others because it's in their nature. And I think we're looking at a person who has a history of this going way back.
Yeah.
Usually neglect in childhood issues produce something like this.
I can't help but defend that police department, who obviously were in an extremely tough go. Possible suspects, impossible, who knew what was going on? But justice may be blind, but she never sleeps. And they stuck with this. They matched the DNA. And the DNA evidence today is it's like capturing time in a bottle. You have it, and it can be brought back any time, years and years later, and then expose it to Keith, who was obviously totally shocked about this. He obviously believed her till the end.
Well, I think about all the resources that were used over the course of not just the, 4 years, 5 years, however long it was, dedicated to this case. And then I think about all the cases that could have used those kinds of resources that maybe didn't have them.
Yeah. Well, you don't know the pressure in the community from a kidnapping by 2 supposed Mexican females. That scares the devil out of the community. They're going, well, you got to stop this. You got to catch him.
And
this just isn't a fake story. They have to actually prove it's a fake story, or else that lingers in the community. It causes all sorts of racial tensions in that area as well. So there's more than just the truth and lies. It's about community justice satisfaction and sticking to your guns and solving the case. And they did an excellent job.